As the first prequel in the Game of Thrones universe, House of the Dragon was a sure hit for fans of George R.R. Martin's universe. And in today's video, we'll be talking about how the House of the Dragon creator wanted to make one major change to the show. Plus, this prequel also fixed one of Game of Thrones' biggest mistakes. Find out all about this and more in today's video. House of the Dragon might have started considerably differently if George R.R. Martin had his way. The first season of House of the Dragon is well known for its time jumps, starting with the declaration of Paddy Considine's Viserys I as the heir to Michael Carter's King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, and ending with Viserys' children Rhaenyra Targaryen, played by Millie Alcock, and Emma D'Arcy, and Aegon II, who's portrayed by Tennant and Tom Glynn-Carney, vying for the Iron Throne. House of the Dragon's first season covered almost 20 years in total, as opposed to Game of Thrones, which had a more straightforward, chronological approach to telling its story. While co-creator of the series and author of Fire and Blood, George R.R. Martin, has already discussed his views on the limitations of streaming TV and portraying these grand, vast tales, he's also lately expressed a desire for the show to begin even sooner. Aegon I's conquest of Westeros and his control over the Seven Kingdoms are the first events in Fire and Blood, the book on which House of the Dragon is based, which begins nearly 100 years before Viserys I is named as the heir. Before arriving at the beginning of the series, the book also covers the reigns of King Aegon I's successors, King Aenys I, King MJAOR I, and King Jaehaerys I. Although he didn't state he would have started at 40 years earlier with the episode he would have called The Heir and the Spare, in which Jaehaerys' two kids, Aemon and Balon, are still alive, Martin did suggest he would have gone back as far as Aegon I. Then, according to Martin's interpretation, Aemon accidentally dies when a Myrish crossbowman shoots him on Tarth, and Jaehaerys gets to choose who becomes the next heir. Martin said that spectators get to observe the friendship, as well as the rivalry, between the two branches of the Great House. So the question that remains is, who is the rightful heir? Is it the daughter of the older son who recently passed away, or is it the second son, who is a man and only a teenage girl, and who has boys of his own? Martin continues by acknowledging that he was the only one who was really thrilled about the notion of beginning the series early. Ryan Condal and Miguel Sapochnik, the creators of House of the Dragon, didn't want to begin the series before Viserys' rule because 20 years of the plot is already a sizable amount of time for only 10 episodes. Starting the season 40 years earlier would probably have required even more time leaps and actor recastings if the season's ultimate objective had remained the same, which was to prepare us for the House of the Dragons. It's a shame that the Game of Thrones writer wasn't able to fulfill this initial idea of his, since it looks promising, but then again, there are a lot of viewers who favor more relative and recent happenings to see. Either way, at least it's good to know that George R.R. Martin was open to sharing this idea with us. Moving forward, let's talk about another topic, and this time, it's about how House of the Dragon fixed one of Game of Thrones' biggest mistakes. 3 years have passed since the infamous Game of Thrones 8th season debuted, which many fans contend ruined Daenerys Targaryen's character development. Even if the prologue to the series House of the Dragon appears to have brought closure through Rhaenyra Targaryen's journey, the trauma is still present. Many fans claim that the prequel comes close to making up for Daenerys' misguided GOT Season 8 plotline. Jon Snow had to assassinate Daenerys in the season finale of the original series, because she had essentially gone into full-on Mad Queen mode. Few were pleased with the result, which at the time sparked a social media uproar. However, according to admirers, the Mad Queen atmosphere is now justified and doesn't feel character abusive. According to one Redditor who goes by the name 7 Anonymous, Rhaenyra also has a similarly complicated journey that ends with her ultimately snapping, somewhat dissimilar to Daenerys. They claim that the primary difference is that they have a lot more backstory and nuances created throughout the season to give this moment a lot more weight and make it feel deserved. Therefore, all of the complexity of her trajectory makes the weight of that moment viscerally powerful, when viewers ultimately witness her snap in the very last scene as a result of Luke's death, continued 7 Anonymous. According to well-rounded Dural Mass, another Redditor, Rhaenyra's relationship with her losses was essentially better depicted prior than Dany's, which is why it's far more plausible. People have already flocked to Twitter following the dramatic House of the Dragon Season 1 finale to declare their support for Rhaenyra and declare that they will stand stand by her no matter what war crime she commits in this upcoming season. Since we're pretty deep into the topic of House of the Dragon, we might as well share with you a major Alicent and Daemon story that didn't make it to the final cut, which actually fared well since if it did make it to the series, it would have ruined Alicent's arc. So if you're curious to know what this particular storyline is, then keep watching for more. Although George R.R. Martin's novel Fire and Blood served as the inspiration for House of the Dragon, a significant Alicent and Daemon narrative were purposely omitted from the program. Alicent and Daemon are two significant players on opposing sides of the impending battle, but the book reveals a fascinating backstory about them that the audience of the theater might be surprised to learn. The court fool Mushroom in the book spreads the rumor that Daemon deflowered Alicent. When Daemon sought Alicent's help in the tournament as a ploy to enrage her father, Otto Hightower, the authors of the show left this rumor as just that, a rumor, and only hinted at a flirtation. Given the course, the writers seemed to be heading Alicent's character on. Leaving out this flirtation was the right move. Alicent's story arc would be ruined if Daemon stole her virginity, because it would alter who she is and her relationship with Rhaenyra, especially in light of the Hightowers' past involvement with the Faith of the Seven. So, what's Alicent and Daemon's history in the original material? Mushroom is one of the three males whose viewpoints are included in the novel. Nonetheless, he's renowned for his flair for theater and prejudice against Rhaenyra. The readers are left to speculate which account of the events is true, although each of the three guys is biased in some way. According to Mushroom's version of events, Alicent's virginity was taken by Daemon, which is why Otto, the Hand of the King, despises Daemon. Mushroom also implies that Alicent had affairs with Viserys and old King Jaehaerys before Queen Emma passed away. But Martin and the showrunners decided to combine all three viewpoints into a single factual timeline. The showrunners chose to make Alicent a more interesting character rather than the House of the Dragon's Cersei Lannister counterpart, saying, "Sometimes Mushroom's even right, by chance." Now, the series needed this Alicent rumor to be fake, and here's why. Alicent's story is open to interpretation, unlike Cersei, who was obviously vicious and deceptive from the beginning. If the rumored relationship between Daemon and Alicent were proven to be true, it would make it appear that she and Rhaenyra were fighting over a man, and oversimplify the plot, according to House of the Dragon author Sarah Hess. Not to add, given the committed and devout persona she strives to uphold as queen, it would have made Alicent less likable and more of a hypocrite. Instead, the writers of the program decided to pen a tragic love story that was rife with pride, misunderstandings, and Alicent's misreading of Viserys Prince Aegon dream, which is a clear example of such misunderstandings. Finally putting aside their differences and rekindling their friendship was Alicent and Rhaenyra. However, Alicent once more let the men in their lives tear them apart. If her connection with Daemon had been planned, he would have been yet another hindrance, based on the inaccurate information and bad advice that self-serving characters like her and Larys Strong provide her. She only makes decisions in the show that she believes is best. When Alicent criticizes her son Aegon after he a servant, for instance, her misgivings and conscience are quite evident. Alicent from House of the Dragon is a lovable and nuanced character. Her encounter with Daemon would have reduced her to a one-dimensional, uninteresting evil. With that, we're ending today's video about House of the Dragon. So what do you think of George R.R. Martin's pitch for the beginning of House of the Dragon? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching today's video, and before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these. See you next time.